Hello and welcome to StudyIQ. I am Prashant Pavani. I hope you're all doing good. Today I have got two special topics for you guys. One is about Kerala, and it is more about aid as a country. Should we accept help coming from other countries? Is it a good idea or a bad one? We'll try to find answer for this question. And the second one is about BIMSTEC. But before moving ahead, I would like to introduce all of you to our State Public Service Commission pen drive courses. As you can see on your screen, we have covered many important states like Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Maharashtra, Andhra Pradesh, Uttar Pradesh, Jharkhand, Gujarat, Karnataka, Punjab, Bihar, Uttarakhand and Himachal Pradesh. And to find out more about it, check out studyiq.com. You'll be able to download the PDF of today's lecture from my Facebook page and Twitter handle. Now let's start our discussion on this special topic about helping Kerala, and is it a humanitarian thing if help is coming from different countries, or is it a matter of pride for us? Should we accept it or not? Now, it was reported in media, and the reason why I'm using this word in media is because when this thing was reported, Government of India clarified this thing, or Government of India said that there is no sort of formal conversation going on between Government of India and UAE about this so-called 700 crore rupees aid. After that, UAE also said that it was just an idea and we are thinking about it, but we don't, means diplomatically, they gave this answer that the 700 crore rupee is not something that is right, or they haven't said that this is wrong, but they haven't said that this is right. And the Chief Minister of Kerala, Chief Minister said that a very prominent businessman who is having very good relationship with top leadership of UAE has personally informed Chief Minister that UAE's leadership is thinking about the 700 crore rupee aid, and basically India has said big no for help. India has said that we don't need help at all, thank you very much. But the thing is, if you go through the tweets of two most outstanding probably IFS officers we ever had, one is Shiv Shankar Menon and the other one is Nirupama Rao. Both of them tweeted saying that we should have accepted, they said that we should have accepted this help. And this is a big question here, right? Because there are many people, there are many analysts, and there are many aspirants as well, students as well. Their point of view is that if we accept this financial aid at present, then in future it will hamper our independence of decision making. We won't be we would be like in a sort of in a position that just in case if something wrong is done by UAE in future, then because of this help we will be under pressure to not go against UAE. So this is one side of looking at thing. And if you ask me personally, then I would say that this is a very, you can say, negative way of looking at things, because I am going to take you through some examples that will prove that it's not that wrong, to accept help during this sort of natural calamities. Now, the reason why UAE is inclined, or this whole item is associated with UAE is because if we go through the structure of UAE, I'm talking about population and immigrants, right? Then we find that the total population of UAE is 1 crore, and out of this 1 crore, 33 lakh people are from India, right? So Indians play a very, you can say, they are in majority as far as this immigrants are concerned. Now, out of this 33 lakh, roughly 16.5 lakh are just from Kerala, and people of Kerala played a very important role in UAE's economic as well as growth development story. So this could be one of the reasons why UAE is inclined, or UAE is associated with this, this help and this whole topic. It could be because UAE appreciates this people-to-people contact that people of Kerala or people of India share with the people of UAE, and this is something that has always been part of this important, a base of bilateral relationship between India and UAE. Now, the reason why I said that this apprehension, this fear about lack or you can say hindrance on independence as far as decision making is concerned is misplaced, because it's not that This is the first time someone is offering us help, or if we turn some pages of history, we find that when Cold Era was at its peak, at that point of time, two types of helps or aids were given to various different countries. Now, let me give you a brief background about this Cold War. Cold War was basically a sort of rivalry, arch rivalry, that was cutthroat competition was going on between USA and USSR. Right from early 50s till 1991, or late 40s and 1991. Since then, we find that this whole period was of Cold Era. At that point of time, the world was divided into two teams. Countries that are part of this USA umbrella, and countries that are part of this team of USSR. So at that point of time as well, when these two categories of aids were quite popular and they were prevalent at that point of time, one was military aid, so supporting a country by providing them important weapons and other things, and the other one was economic help by providing them items that are necessary, or giving them some sort of money for dam building and other sort of developmental processes. So out of these two categories, clearly both of them were used as an instrument by both this USSR and USA to influence decisions in donor nations. That means a country that is receiving money, right, as sort of you can say some advisors, and some do's and don'ts were also given, or they were like piggybacked behind this military or economic aid. But during this Cold War era, or when this Cold War era or Cold War was at its peak, at that point of time as well, humanitarian assistance were never used. This was a third category of aid. It was never used to influence, or it was never used as an instrument of foreign policy. And I have one example as well. Back in 1979, when Pakistan, USA got this solid evidence that Pakistan was enriching itself in uranium technology. At that point of time, the president was Carter, and Carter administration exempted. It applied many sanctions. It said that it is going to cut, and in fact, it did chopped this help that was given to Pakistan. But at that point of time as well, this food aid that was given to Pakistan was never stopped. So this indicates that humanitarian thing is altogether different thing. It was not used as an instrument of foreign policy. The other thing is that during this Cold War, many nations, including India, relied heavily on this largesse of major donor nations. We used to get so many things from USA. Remember wheat? We used to get huge amount of wheat coming from USA, because at that point of time our situation was not that good. Our position, we were basically a vulnerable country. Yet India showed the courage, to accept US aid without compromising India's foreign policy when we opted for non-aligned movement. Non-aligned movement was a sort of a path, a middle path. You have this one team here, that is USA team, and then you have this USSR team. At that point of time, we opted for non-aligned movement. We were not a sort of puppet of USA. We were neither puppet of USSR. We stayed to stick with all those countries, developing countries at that point of time. And we tried we were a very, you can say, foundational leader of this non-aligned movement. So it was, this whole process was to be neutral, right? Not see oneself inclined towards one particular nation or one particular team. So this was our stand at that point of time, at a time when we used to get huge amount of help from USA. And at that point of time, we had this deal called US Public Law 480, PL 480. So we were supposed to pay money to USA in Indian rupees, and very generously, keeping in mind the situation of our country, USA was having some 1,664 crore rupees, money as in rupee denomination. So they wrote a check to us to give, this money that they have earned from these deals that were going on with USA. So this was again a sort of act of charity, you can say. The other thing is, at that point of time, India's economic situation was not what it is now. It was very bad, and Today the situation is very different of our country. At present, we are one of the fastest growing major economy in the world, right? Our size of our economy is bigger as well when we compare ourselves with 70s or 80s. And still, we are growing at a very good pace. We are termed as fastest growing economy and things like that. But that does not mean that we have, we have eliminated poverty. Not at all. Even today, when we calculate or compare various different nations based on per capita income, then we find that India ranks 140th, right? So it's in a very bad state as far as poor population is concerned. The thing with India is that you find poorest of the poor living in our country. When you compare poor people of our country with other countries' poor people, then we find that our poor are in more sort of painful state compared to other nations' poverty. Then we have to keep in mind that as far as this disasters are concerned, they are not only about ego and pride, but it is also a thing that is deeply connected with human rights. The first priority should be protecting lives. This should be our first priority as far as rescue missions are concerned. And it also has this human rights touch, right? There is no point, or you cannot leave someone in a welfare state, particularly you cannot leave someone to starve and die. We expect that they expect from us that we rescue them from the problem, something that is totally out of their control. Even the most advanced nations do not let their economic power hinder the acceptance of humanitarian aid, particularly in calamities. I have one example for you. Back in 2005, when this USA was, you can say, battered by this Katrina hurricane, at that point of time, Group Captain Rajat Sharma took this items worth some around $5 million, which is of course a small amount for a country like USA. Right, back in 2005, USA's per capita income was 50 times more than that of India. And even today, it is one of the most developed countries. It is a superpower. At that point of time as well, it was the only superpower that was left after the fall of USSR. But then as well, USA happily, very graciously accepted the help that was coming from India. Back in 2011, when Japan was ravaged by this big earthquake, at that point of time, 179 countries came forward and helped Japan, but Japan never said that no, we don't need your help. In fact, China too helped Japan, and we know that they consider each other as their arch rivals, but China as well was standing shoulder to shoulder with this Japan due to this natural calamity. And Thailand, a very tiny country compared to Japan in terms of economy, of course, in terms of technology and other things. Even Thailand provided $7 billion as a help to Japan. And if you compare Thailand's per capita income, it's just 11.4% of what people in Japan get on an average. So if countries like USA, if countries like Japan, they are big countries, right? If they don't feel ashamed when help is coming from various different quarters, then why we should say no to this thing? The other thing is that in today's interdependent world, we have to make sure that we all are connected with each other. Climate change is a thing that is happening at present, and to fight climate change, we need to unite together. We have to strive to achieve the goals that we have set under this Paris Climate Agreement, and only then together either we will swim or we will sink. So that's everything in this discussion. I hope things are clear to you now. I'm sure you have formed your opinion as well. Second item that I have for you is about Prime Minister's office. Prime Minister Jan Arogya Yojana that will be rolled out in near future. So Prime Minister took a review of preparation on this Jan Arogya Yojana that is working under this big umbrella of Ayushman Bharat. He also, reviewed many important projects that are associated with road construction, railways, and infrastructure related project. Prime Minister urged bureaucrats and Niti Aayog members and members of PMO and other people that we should try our level best to make sure that we are using more and more technology-driven operations rather than human interface. We have to make sure that we reduce human interface as minimum as we can, because we don't want to see cases of corruption or this sort of fake or real. Of course, we don't want to see any of them, because real one is again a bad thing. But if we can detect someone, that's a good thing. But we want to curb it. We don't want to catch them after they have done something wrong. So this is one of the reasons why Prime Minister has urged officers to deploy more technological or technology driven solutions. With this, he also reviewed projects that are going on in various different parts of our country. That is Andhra Pradesh, Assam, Gujarat is there. Then you have Delhi, Haryana, Tamil Nadu, Odisha, Karnataka, Punjab, Uttar Pradesh and Uttarakhand. And these projects, 9 important projects, are associated with railway, road, petroleum services. Petroleum sector. And now the thing is, dear friends, I have a question for you. Pragati, right? Can you give me the full form of Pragati? And I'm sure once you'll go through the full form of Pragati, you will realize why it is important and how it works too. So you can kill 2 birds with 1 stone. But I would be eagerly waiting for your answer as well in the comment section. Now, Supreme Court has ruled that the 5 alleged Maoist sympathizers, right, should not be sent to jail. They, in fact, they should be kept under house arrest, till 6th September. And this CJI of our country has also said that dissent is the safety valve of democracy. So if someone is raising voice against something that is wrong, then we should listen to them rather than taking severe or wrong actions against them. But that does not mean that we have reached a logical conclusion whether this alleged 5 people, right, famous faces, are they truly associated with Naxal operations or Naxal ideology or not. We have to wait and watch. The Supreme Court is going through this whole case, so in near future hopefully we will come to its you can say a logical conclusion. Now, the second topic that I have for you guys is BIMSTEC initiative. It stands for Bay of Bengal Initiative for Multi-Sectoral Technical and Economic Cooperation. As you can see on your screen, you have 7 flags, right? And I will read it out for you. You have Bangladesh, Bhutan, India, Myanmar, Nepal, Sri Lanka and Thailand. Out of these 7 countries, you have 1 that is Bangladesh, second is Bhutan, third is India, 4th is Nepal and 5th is Sri Lanka. All these countries are part of, these 5 countries are part of SAARC, that is a South Asian Association of Regional Cooperation. And then you have 2 countries, that is Myanmar and Thailand. They are part of ASEAN. That is, ASEAN stands for Association of Northeast Asian Nations. Now, the BIMSTEC meeting took place in Kathmandu, and if I take you through some important facts associated with BIMSTEC, then we find that the total population that is covered by these 7 countries is 1.5 billion, and it is 22% of global population. Overall GDP of these 7 countries together is 2.7 trillion, and BIMSTEC is a region that connects both SAARC as well as ASEAN. As you know now that there are a few countries, 5 countries are part of SAARC and 2 countries are part of this ASEAN group. So it can work, this Bay of Bengal, right, or this BIMSTEC can work as a sort of bridge that connects ASEAN with SAARC nations. And together, if we work as a unity, then we can change the face of this whole subcontinent and parts of ASEAN countries. Now you can see here that out of this 7 countries, only 2 countries that they are Bhutan and Nepal. These 2 countries are landlocked. Apart from that, all other countries are sharing its border with Bay of Bengal. So proximity is quite close as well. Cultural proximity is there in terms of geography as well. We are not that far, so we can utilize this Bay of Bengal. You can even use a small medium-sized boats. You don't have to use big container ships. You can use small boats, and it will give you flexibility, and more transactions can be conducted between this BIMSTEC members. Now, dear friends, as you can see on your screen, you have all 7 leaders from BIMSTEC group, and it was 4th summit that took place in Kathmandu, Nepal, that is in 2018. Now, can you find a sort of pattern here, right? Is there any pattern in which or a particular way in which these leaders are standing, right? I'll give you a small hint. Start from here and think about it. You will find out. It's not something that you will be asked in your examination, but this sort of things will push you to analyze things. You will try to look at it from various different angles, and this will stay in your mind for a very long period of time. Now, Prime Minister Narendra Modi, whilst addressing this BIMSTEC summit, he said that BIMSTEC is part of India's neighborhood first and look east policy. These are our two important pillars of foreign policy. Neighborhood first means first of all our best friends are our neighbors, and the second one is look east. That means we are ready to trade and engage with Japan or other island nations of this Pacific region, or maybe China, ASEAN nations of course, and Mongolia as well is part of our look east policy. You know, look east, and after that it became act east, so the more updated one is act east policy. Now, this meeting took place in Kathmandu, as you know, right, because we have talked about it here already. Prime Minister said that together BIMSTEC provides us a sort of platform or a very good opportunity on which we can fulfill the aspirations as well as expectations of the people of BIMSTEC region. He also talked about northeastern region of our country, in which you have 7 sister states plus 1 state, so Sikkim, if we take into consideration, and if we go through other areas, then we find that Bangladesh is sharing its border with northeastern state. You have Myanmar, of course, and so these are the countries that are sharing its border with our northeastern region, and it can play a very important role in connecting or playing. Northeastern region can as well work as a bridge between ASEAN nations and our country and other countries that are part of our neighborhood. Now, he also talked about this terrorism, transnational crimes and drug trafficking, something that is quite prevalent between these countries, and this is something that we need to fight against. For that we have to unite. We cannot fight in silos. We have to work together. Only then we would be able to achieve some positive results as far as this terrorism, transnational crimes and drug fighting is concerned. Mr. Modi proposed the creation of a special forum for women parliamentarian. He invited this ASEAN, not ASEAN but BIMSTEC members to be part of this 2020 is August, beg your pardon, August 2020. We are going to have this Buddhist conclave, and we have invited this BIMSTEC leaders to come here, visit India, and be part of this guest of honor. The theme this year of ASEAN BIMSTEC is towards peaceful, prosperous, and sustainable Bay of Bengal region. With this, dear friends, next PIB news item that we have is Law Commission of India. In its latest report has proposed simultaneous Lok Sabha as well as assembly polls. Here, Law Commission has provided us some positive points. It has also said that we need to change a little bit of amendments has to be done with constitution and electoral law, and this Law Commission has also said that the main man of chairman of Law Commission has said that a simultaneous poll will save public money. It will help in reduction of burden on administrative setup or district administration, and he also talked about security forces, and we can work together, and we have to ensure that implementation of this this implementation of simultaneous poll should be implemented ASAP, because this will help us save huge amount of, there are many things it will help us with. Of course, you need to keep in mind negative points as well of this simultaneous poll. And the last item that we have is about demonetization. Now, Finance Minister Arun Jaitley has clarified this thing, that demonetization was not just about getting rid of 500 and 1000 rupee note. The bigger picture is that money will come in, and once the money will come in the bank, then government can scrutinize it. And he has also said that those people who are saying that it has completely failed, then that is also not right. He said that formalization of economy has improved, higher tax revenue has been spotted, higher expenditure as well as higher growth. He also said that a larger purpose of this demonetization was to create this culture of tax compliance in our country. And he also said that some 1.8 means 18 lakh people are under this radar of income tax, and in near future decision will be taken as well as soon as possible. That's everything in today's discussion. Thank you very much, dear friends. Make sure you share this lecture with other students. God bless you all. Jai Hind.